2, 1. Hey guys, it's me, 80s144. Today, guys, we'll be doing our preview with Uruguay, and I have a special friend named Rank. Obviously, you guys know him. He did the Argentina preview, and he will help me do the Uruguay preview as well. So, yeah, man, take it away, Rank.
Hello. I'm super excited to speak about Uruguay. They are like brothers to me. I know if people from Uruguay are watching, like, please don't be offended that someone from somewhere else is doing the preview, but I really love you guys. And I really hope you do well because I think you got a great squad and people are kind of sleeping on Uruguay because you look at the names and this is a very strong team who can do bits in this World Cup.
Yeah, it's like I said. I think I kind of agree with you. I think when you're looking at the possible group, things, everyone has kind of made the assumption for Group H that Portugal would top the group by easily, but people don't understand that in the last World Cup, Uruguay actually beat Portugal. People don't even take that into consideration.
Yeah. It's obviously a very interesting group for Uruguay because every team in this group is someone that Uruguay have beat before. You know, South Korea, round of 16, 2010, Ghana, quarterfinals, 2010, and Portugal, obviously, last World Cup, like you mentioned. So every team in this group wants to get revenge on Uruguay.
Yeah, it's kind of like Uruguay is kind of like that bully, and you're trying to you're trying to one up your bully.
Exactly.
But obviously, I would just make an analogy here. But you guys get the point that Uruguay is definitely everyone wants to get revenge on Uruguay, and as far as their qualification for this World Cup, it was a bit kind of sketchy. They had a really rough period in the middle. I think in January they had gone 6-game winless streak. I think. You might.
I think something like that.
Yeah, you can correct me if I'm not. You guys can correct me in the chat below. The comment section below if I'm wrong. But they had a terrible spell, and that eventually led to Oscar Tabarez being sacked. And who was the new coach they brought in? I forgot his name.
Diego Alonso.
Diego Alonso. Yeah, that's right. And he did a good job for the team. Did a patch up, and Uruguay qualified for the World Cup and being in third place, which is really interesting because I believe at the time of Oscar Tabarez sacking, they were at 6th place. I believe.
I believe they were in 7th. It was actually really bad. They had lost 3-0 to Bolivia, which is not a good look at all. And they had to sack Tavares, who had been with them for 15 years already. So he had been through their best success at the semifinals in 2010, winning Copa America in 2011 as well. So they got a lot from Tavares, and it was definitely sad to see him go like that.
Yeah.
But Diego Alonso brought the team together, brought in some new names that we're going to be discussing, and the team looks so fresh and plays so well together. They brought it back and qualified directly in 3rd place, actually. It's up in Ecuador even.
Yeah, I find that very impressive that Uruguay, despite them being really poor for some period of this campaign, they still managed to finish 3rd place ahead of the likes of Ecuador, who've been pretty much in good form for most of this qualification, and obviously Peru as well. Colombia as well, so you have to give them a ton of credit for that, and that just shows how good Uruguay is. And that even at their very worst, they can still manage to qualify in 3rd place ahead of the likes of Colombia, Peru, Ecuador, etc. And I'm looking at this World Cup group, man, because as you mentioned, this is a very interesting group. It's a very I would say this is a very open group. Personally speaking, I think it's a group that will definitely throw in some surprises. I don't feel like this group is straightforward by any means. Do you agree with that?
Yes and no, because I think it's very open in the likes that Ghana and South Korea are definitely teams that can surprise and can play really well. But I think that in terms of quality right now, you can't deny that Portugal and Uruguay should be in the lead. I think in Uruguay, the expectations are that they should get out of this group, and the expectations are actually to beat Portugal to contest that 1st place in the group, because if you look at possible opponents in the round of 16, finishing 2nd in this group means playing Brazil. And Uruguay doesn't do well against Brazil, at least in recent years. It's not like Maracanazo in the 50s. So Uruguay really want to top this group and avoid Brazil. And if they get 1st in this group and have to go on against like a Serbia or a Switzerland, I fancy their chances of getting far into this tournament.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the schedule here. So they have like South Korea first, and then they have Uruguay. I mean, sorry, not Uruguay, Portugal second, and then they have Ghana last. So it's a pretty interesting schedule. They have probably the what some would say is probably the easiest game they have first, and then obviously the hardest game probably being Portugal, and then obviously the game that Uruguay will be very. It could be interesting because that game for Uruguay may not even mean much by that point because they could already secure qualification, but obviously first place could still be up for grabs, and what could very much happen is that a very spirited Ghana team, well, obviously they may not, depending on how things go, although they may not they may not qualify for the World round of 16. They could put a dent in Uruguay and like prevent them from topping the group. Let's just say hypothetically, which that would be a good positive for Ghana because obviously they're very aggravated. They're very hurt from 2010.
Yeah. I'm obviously rooting for Uruguay, but it would be great to see Ghana's revenge as well, if they can at least make ruin Uruguay's campaign in this World Cup a
Yeah.
bit.
So yeah, it could also if Ghana's still in qualification, they could make effectively eliminate Uruguay, which would be pretty crazy. I gotta say,
Exactly, yeah. The art completion, finally.
Yeah, obviously we'll see as time pans on, but that match is gonna be very interesting. That game, I'm definitely gonna see if I could try to watch that game. Unfortunately, obviously the times are not very convenient for me because I have class and everything like this. So I'll see if I can watch this game because that's a good game to watch.
Yeah, definitely. Everyone is gonna want to tune in for that one.
Yeah. So, I mean, what's your expectation for like early predictions? Obviously, we know this is July, so obviously, we don't have the official squads until October. So, let's say the World Cup is taking place right now. Who would you have your money on? Uruguay to top the group or to come second place?
Right now, I would have to say they come second place and they probably lose to Brazil in the round of 16. But if they are going to be very competitive against Portugal, I can tell you that. And if they can get that win and qualify in the first place, I really see them getting into the quarterfinals and matching what they did in 2018 and maybe even pushing for semis, depending on who they face.
Yeah, let me go look at
So
the bracket real quick because that is a key to note. So I do agree to the sense that if they get second place, I don't see them getting past Brazil. Brazil are just way too good for Uruguay,
mhm.
and I feel like as good as Uruguay is, we saw in the World Cup qualifiers that Brazil just pretty
Yeah,
much
it wasn't close.
it wasn't close whatsoever. And I don't really believe. Yes, it's a World Cup, but I still don't think Uruguay have enough in their tanks to do it. Unfortunately, so let's go and see. So yeah, if Uruguay do, let's say they top the group just for argument's sake. So they will play, and then obviously, as you mentioned, they'll play against either Serbia or Switzerland, and maybe potentially Cameroon. I think Uruguay should be able to eliminate all three of those nations. I would be interesting to see the Switzerland one because I think it would be very open. But I still think Uruguay should be able to beat all three of those nations. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I would say Uruguay would come in as favorite for all of those matches, but either Switzerland or Serbia, since they play in UEFA, they are both very competitive teams and could give Uruguay a run for their money. It would be a very close game if it was Serbia or Switzerland. Switzerland made many upsets happen recently,
Yeah, true.
so definitely could pull another one against Uruguay.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah. So, anyways, moving into the quarterfinals. So, if they play in the quarterfinals, they'll play against Belgium versus Belgium versus I think Belgium will top Group F for now. Let's say Belgium top
yeah.
Group F, and then Group E, the runners up, I think is going to be Spain. So, if they play against Spain, Belgium versus Spain, I'm taking Spain. And so then we have a potential match of Uruguay versus Spain, which could be very interesting.
Would be very interesting indeed. I don't know. I think Spain is a better team. I highly rate Spain at the moment, but Spain is a bit lacking in the striker position. So if Spain doesn't capitalize in their chances, I can see Uruguay beating them.
Yeah, I could
It's
see
going to
that
be a
too.
close game.
It's a close game. I think it's a 50-50 game, in the sense that I think it could go either way. If I had to like give a prediction for that match right now, I do give the edge to Spain because I feel like Spain overall have more squad depth, and I think it'll be very key. Whereas as good as Uruguay is, like I said, there's a lot of old players in the team, and I don't really feel like there's enough depth in that team. So that's one of the reasons why I would favor Spain. But it would be a close game. So now let's just say that they do face Germany, because that also is contendable as well. I think
Yeah.
I think I'd also fancy Germany in that one too, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I agree. But that also puts into perspective how much the Portugal game means for Uruguay. Because if they lose that game and end second in the group, they are almost there against Brazil, guaranteed. But if they manage to beat Portugal and get in first place, semifinals is suddenly like a realistic expectation, even if they might face tougher opposition in the way.
Yeah, and like I said, that's going to be very interesting. That Uruguay-Portugal game will probably determine the winner of the group, in all likelihood. And like I said, guys, I do think Uruguay can top because Portugal, man, they have a great team, but I just don't trust, Fernando Santos, and Portugal have been kind of underwhelming when it comes to them playing the game I've seen recently. So I wouldn't be surprised. And obviously, Uruguay, they did beat them in the last World Cup, so they have the experience and the pedigree, and that kind of thing. So let's just see what happens. So yeah, as of today, if I had to give a prediction, I will say that Uruguay, honestly, this might come as a crazy prediction, but right now I have Uruguay at the top of the group. I just don't really trust Portugal at the moment. I don't trust them.
I see. I like it.
Yeah, it's a wild card prediction, but obviously this is early prediction, so this could subject to change. So I have Uruguay going out in the quarterfinals, which I think will be a good for them in my opinion. I think it's a good expectation.
Yeah, matching what they did in 2018, I think it would be a good World Cup for them for sure.
Yeah. So now that we've discussed about the expectations, I think we should now transition to the squad. So, what formation do you think Diego Alonso is going to play with his team?
They've been playing a lot of 4-4-2 recently.
Yeah, I think that's been kind of like the bread and butter formation. That's been like really good, obviously. 4-4-2-A or 4-4-2-B. Which one do you think is better?
What's the difference between them?
I think the difference is that there is a CDM and there's CMs. That's pretty much the difference, I think.
No, I think with the A, they like to play offensive.
Yeah, okay, let's just go with this one. Okay. So let's start with the goalkeeper, obviously. So name me the 3 goalkeepers you think will be in the squad, and then obviously tell me your first choice.
So I think the 3 goalkeepers that are going to the World Cup are going to be Fernando Muslera, who has been their main goalkeeper for a long time since they were with Tavares. Although he hasn't been starting much at Galatasaray in Turkey, and he has been making a few mistakes in the qualifiers, which has made Alonso bring national talent, Sergio Rochet, who plays for Nacional in the Uruguay League, one of the biggest clubs in Uruguay, and has been performing amazingly. And the third goalkeeper would be Guillermo de Amores, who plays for Deportivo Cali in Colombia.
All right, so yeah, this is interesting. It's going to be interesting, though, to see what happens in the goalkeeper position, because you're right in the sense that Muslera hasn't really been starting a lot of games recently. But this is the World Cup, man. And in my opinion, you got to start your most experienced goalkeeper. Doesn't matter how good the keeper is, unless the keeper is just really bad. Like, unless, like, Muslera is, like, making howlers after howlers, we know what happened last World Cup, Obviously, I don't want to speak too much about it because he had I believe there was, like, some kind of personal event that happened, and it was very tragic for him. So, like I said, for me, I think Muslera should start. What do you think? Do you think Alonso is going to really bench Muslera for the World Cup?
I think he's going to bench Muslera. I think that Alonso, since he joined the national team for Uruguay, he has been giving more credit to who's in better form rather than who's been more experienced or historic for the team. So I think Rochet is going to start, actually.
Wow, that's a big call to make, and it's going to be interesting because, like I said, man, it's a big call to make. But who knows, man? It's let's be real, it's between these two, right? I don't think.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so it's either him or the other person. Like Guillermo de Amores is basically got no chance.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, let's move on to the right back. Let's do fullbacks now. Let's just do right back first.
Right back is obviously going to be Ronald Araujo, who's been performing amazingly for Barcelona. I guess I haven't watched a lot of Barcelona games, but I guess you could speak more about how he plays because I think of the few games of Barcelona I've watched, he's been amazing and for the national team as well.
Yeah, definitely. He's been one of Barca's best players, man. And man, without him, man, our defense would be really bad. Let me just say this right now. And he is such a good player. And the great thing about Araujo is that he can also play as a fullback. Now, I personally am not really particularly fond of that idea because that's not really his best position. In my opinion, I feel like his best position is as center back. However, he can do the job as a right back, and I feel like given the amount of players they have in the right back position, it's probably he's just that good that you have to play him somewhere. He's just that good and that you can't just bench him. So the only other position that's vacant is right back, I suppose. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so who's gonna be the backup for the right back position in case Raul gets injured because he's been kind of a little injury prone at Barcelona,
Yeah. The backup would either be Damian Suarez, who plays at Getafe, or Giovanni Gonzalez playing at Mallorca. So every right back is playing in Spain currently.
Wow, what are the odds? Oh man. But anyways, let's move on to left backs.
I think who's going to start as left back is going to be Matthias Vecino, who's playing for Roma. And he's been super good there. Obviously, won Conference League and did well in Serie A. Backup would probably be Matías Olivera, who also plays at Getafe. Olivera and Viña are actually very close for that position on left back, but I think it's between one of them. And another backup could be Joaquin Piqueras, who's playing for Palmeiras in Brazil currently.
All right, that's interesting to note. So, yeah, now let's move to the center back position.
Mm-hmm. This is very interesting because who do you go here for the experience or for the ones that has been having probably the best performance? I still think Diego Godin is going to start at the World Cup.
Wow.
Even if his current performance is not the best and he isn't playing in Europe, I think he's still going to start because he's such an asset to the team. He's the captain and he brings so much out off the pitch that he just has to start, and he's going to be with Jose Maria Jimenez from Atletico for sure.
Yeah, man. These two, man, the two stalwarts for Atletico Madrid, they're like they form such a great partnership at the back. And, Godin, even at this age, I've heard a lot of people say he's finished, and I heard a lot of people say that. But the thing is, though, like, as a defender, it's about experience, it's about age. And, defenders, a lot of the defenders, the elite defenders, they still play at their very late age. I think they actually retire later than, your midfielders, your forwards,
Yeah, I agree.
So, like I said, he's the captain of the team, as you mentioned, and he brings so much experience, and he's still very, very good. He's still good, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what about Jose Maria Jimenez, man? Let's have a discussion about him because he's also a really good center back for Atletico Madrid. He's been kind of a bit injury prone. This last season for Atletico Madrid, he's not really been playing a lot of games. He's been kind of injured for some periods. And that's kind of been the reason why Atletico Madrid have conceded more goals than usual is because the defenders like Savage and Jimenez, has been kind of injured. And then you got Hermoso, who's pretty much awful, in my opinion, this guy. And we need to have a conversation about him. We all know how bad he is. And then Felipe, I don't even want to discuss those two. But get the point, right? Like the two, like Atletico Madrid's center backs have been consistently injured, which is the reason why they've kind of struggled. And what's your thoughts on Jimenez, man?
No, yeah, I agree with you. But if Jimenez is in form, he's so insane. And both of Uruguay's center backs are also very good on set pieces. They've scored a lot of crucial goals for the national team. So even if they are solid defensively, they can still give their support on the attack, which I think is also very valuable. I've been very impressed from Jimenez ever since he came for the national team. I think he's been super solid at Atletico as well.
Yeah, so who are going to be the backup center backs?
So my favorite one, who is, I would say, is the first option to start if one of them is injured, is going to be Sebastian Coates from Sporting or from Portugal. And then the other one would probably still be Martin Cáceres, who is also has been since the old days and is a bit old now playing at Levante, but I think there are no other good center backs at the moment, so I think he will still get a spot in the World Cup.
Yeah, yeah, that's kind of one of the issues I'm looking at Uruguay's team is that there's not really many young center backs. I think Raul is probably the only exception with that.
Yeah, and you're playing as right back as well. So.
Yeah, that's not ideal. So maybe what could happen is that, if push comes to shove, either Jimenez or Godin's injured, then, Raul could push into center back and you can have like someone else playing the right back position. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. But, yeah, obviously, Jose Maria Jimenez, Godin, man, what a partnership that is for Atletico Madrid. They were so good together. And I remember the last World Cup, I think Uruguay conceded 3 goals,
Yeah, and 2 of them were against France. So
and one was like a mistake, so I don't really want to count that, and the other one was a set piece. I think actually both goals conceded were set pieces, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, their defense has been super solid always.
Yeah. All right, let's move to the midfield now, which is interesting. So on the right mid, let's do left mid and right mid, and then we'll do center mids later. Actually, should we do center mids first or left mid, right mid? I'll let you choose.
I like to start midfielders, center mids.
Okay, let's do. Yeah, that actually makes more sense. We can left mid and right mids more like forwards, not really center mids.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, okay. Let's do a midfield. Let's do center mids. Obviously, I think there's one undisputed starter.
Federico Valverde, super insane man.
Yeah, he's gonna start. He's obviously, as a Barca fan, I know what he's capable of doing. He's basically like. He's a really good box to box player. He can really work. He's really good at pacing. He can really run fast, and he's got so much lungs, And you know how people talk about Conte? He's like so unbelievable, unstoppable. I also feel Valverde is kind of like that in some ways. That he may not be that great technically speaking, but he's really good as a hard worker. He really works hard for the team.
Yeah, he's super good. I would argue he's the best player from Uruguay right now. He's super insane, man, and he had a great season. He's probably on his peak right now, and coming into the World Cup, which is obviously great. The midfield for Uruguay is secure by him and by Rodrigo Bentancur from Spurs. So this midfield is absolutely crazy, and I think it's among the best at this tournament, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy, man, because like I said, Valverde, man, he also comes up clutch in big games. Always gives you a good goal or an assist there. I remember, obviously, I know you don't want to discuss about it, but what happened in the Champions League final,
Yeah, no, but it was insane. So what can I say? It was super good.
Yeah, and
even if I hated it.
Yeah, obviously, I know he's also scored against Barcelona. I know this too, and he's just a good player, man. Bentancur is a kind of an interesting one. I don't really think he's that amazing. Obviously, you probably know him better than I do, so I can't really comment too much about him. But I heard he's been decent, as well as say.
Well, hearing from some Spurs fans that I've been talking to, he's been super good on his ball distribution. He's super calm with the ball, super clinic. So I think that even if he doesn't bring so much to the team as Valverde offensively, he can deliver the ball to whoever can create more space and chances for the team. I think it's a key piece for the midfield.
I think he's definitely been better at Tottenham. He's definitely been better at Tottenham than Juventus. I think we can both agree with that. So, that's a good signing for Tottenham there. Good loan sign. Wait, was it a loan deal or permanent deal?
I don't remember, actually. I think it's a permanent deal.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, I think it might be permanent here because I'm seeing it says Tottenham Hotspur here. So, yeah, I don't see anything with loan thing. So, I think it's permanent. You guys can correct me. You guys can correct us in the chat if we're wrong. I mean, not chat, sorry, comment section. So, anyways, who are the backup players? I think Lucas Torreira will probably be backup.
He's going to be a backup. Currently, he belongs to Arsenal, but I don't think he's going back to Arsenal. He's probably going to look for another club after spending a season with Fiorentina. He did quite well, but he doesn't have the best relation with the club. Yeah. So he's probably going to look somewhere else to have a place and, keep competing to reach the World Cup in a good level. The other one would be Matthias Vecino, who plays at Inter.
Oh yeah, this guy, man, he's a good player, man. I remember, yeah, he's a good player. Um, yeah, he was good in the last World Cup, I think.
So yeah, the midfield for Uruguay is definitely insane and has really good depth. So
Yeah, and you know what's interesting with both Valverde and Bentancur, they're both really young. That's really interesting.
so, yeah, yeah. So they can continue even for the next World Cup.
Yeah. All right, let's move to the I guess we should now move on to the wingers or midfielders. I mean, not really.
Mm-hmm.
You know the wingers basically.
Yeah.
All right. So who's gonna be the? Let's do right mid first, I guess. Who do you want? Who do you think is gonna be in the right mid?
Ever since Alonso came in, the first player he brought that was heavily criticized because he wasn't getting a lot of playtime. But once he got on the field with the Euro 1 team and play against Paraguay, I think it was his debut game, he showed his skill and everyone was in love with him instantly. Facundo Pelistri from Alaves.
Oh yeah, this guy. This guy's a young talent, man. I'm looking
Yeah,
at this. Yeah, sorry, I'll let you finish.
yeah, no, very young, super quick, aggressive dribbler that likes to get on the wing or even inside the box and send crosses in. And he's been super insane for the national team. And now he's starting to get recognized in his club because of what he did for the national team, which is kind of crazy. So this is definitely Alonso's bet that paid off the most, basically, for the last bit of the qualifying campaign. He's been
Yeah,
super
yeah.
good for the national team.
Yeah, I'm looking at stats. It's look pretty good. 3 games and 3 goals. It's pretty good, man. You know.
Yeah.
And anyways, who do you think is the backup for right mid?
The backup is most likely going to be Nicolas de la Cruz, who plays for River Plate in the Argentine League. He was called up a bunch of times for the national team, but I think he's going to sit on the bench for the World Cup since Pelistri came in.
Dang, I'm looking at. He's very versatile. Wow, I didn't even realize how versatile he is. He can play in like
Yeah.
right winger, left midfielder, left winger, central midfield, attacking mid. Like he can pretty much play any position in the midfield, basically.
Yeah, yeah, no, they are both super good.
Yeah. So yeah, very very good. Let's move on to the left wing. I mean left mid. Sorry.
Yeah. It's going to be Georgian de Arrascaeta playing for Flamengo in Brazil. I know he doesn't get talked as much because he obviously isn't playing in Europe, but this man has been so good for the national team and for Flamengo at club level. At Copa Libertadores, you could see it in Brasileirao. Super consistent playing, high goal scorer as well. So I think he's going to be a key piece to the Uruguay attacking options, which are many, of course.
Yeah, I'm trying to just see. Unfortunately, I'm not sure why. He's not registered on here. I'm just kind of weird.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm not really
He
sure
does play
why.
a lot for Flamengo. I'm not sure why.
Yeah, it's a bit weird. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to search the name. I put Flamingo there as the thing. Actually, let me see. Did I spell it right? I think that's how you spell it right.
Yeah, the name is Georgian, like Gio Rgian.
Yeah, I think I spelled it right. It's not showing up. I don't know.
Yeah, no.
It's very unfortunate. Let me just search a Google image for you guys, so you guys know who this guy is. I have a friend that supports what's it called, Flamingo, and he probably knows how good he is. I think he's kind of underrated in my opinion.
Oh yeah, he's super underrated. I think he could get a move to Europe if he wanted. I mean, Brazil is also super competitive and has high wages, so maybe he doesn't wanna. But but yeah, he could easily play for Europe, given what he's shown for Flamengo and for the national team.
Yeah, man. There's like some good players. Like like there's a lot of just because you don't play in Europe doesn't mean like you're a bad player. I feel like that stereotype is very unfair, very harsh, because there's a lot of good players, man, that played outside of Europe, man. You know.
I agree. I think Scherchen is gonna show up big at the World Cup.
Yeah. So yeah, who do you think is the backup player in that position?
The backup player, I think it's gonna be Diego Rossi playing for Fenerbahce in the Turkish league. He's been having good performances. I wish he got a move to Europe, but I don't see it right now. Um, I don't know. I don't think it's that close, but he's still a good player and a good backup, I believe.
Yeah. And now it is time to move to the strikers, and this is
Ooh,
where it gets interesting, right?
yeah, no, it's super weird because it's the last World Cup for the legendary duo of Suarez and Cavani, but I have the tingling sensation that one of them is gonna be on the bench
Oh,
because there's a new kid in town who just got a big money move to Liverpool. Darwin Nunez, I think, because of the club he's playing and the high level of competition he's going to have from here to the World Cup, I think he is starting 100%.
wow, that is crazy, man. Who do you think is gonna get benched between Suarez and Cavani?
I think Cavani is getting benched, sadly.
Oh, dang, that's a big call to make.
I mean,
So,
but just think about it. The two of them haven't had a lot of big performances at club level. I mean, Suarez had a decent season at Atletico, but now is gone. He's out of Europe, supposedly. There were a few rumors that he was going to River Plate in the Argentine league, but that hasn't been confirmed. It's up in the air still. So we don't know what's going to happen to him, what's going to happen to Cavani as well. I think the only one who has their spot secure is Nunez because he is already in a big team in Europe and in the best league in the world, and he's going to have a lot of competition. And he's super young and been scoring lots of goals for Benfica. So I think he is going to be the starter.
ooh, that's gonna be interesting, man. Really interesting to see what happens. So yeah, backup options. Obviously, I imagine that Cavani will still make the squad. He will obviously, still be in the squad.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah.
He won't be completely omitted.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and then who's gonna be the other backup for the other striker?
The the other backup it's gonna be Maxi Gomez from Valencia.
Oh
Also had an
yeah.
amazing season, and you could make an argument that he could push for a starter if he keeps up this big level at Valencia. Um, but I think he's gonna be on the bench because you cannot bench both Suarez and Cavani at their last World Cup. You have to at least play one of them. They are just that good and legendary.
Yeah. All right, man. That's gonna be interesting, man. So, like I said, man, I'm looking at Uruguay in particular, man. This team looks really, there's a lot of young players, there's still a lot of veteran players, and it's gonna be interesting to see how Uruguay do because, like I said, man, a lot. This is probably the last World Cup for many of the old players. Like the players like Godin, Suarez, Cavani, a lot of other players. What other players would you say is probably the last World Cup for them?
Muslera for sure, and Martin Cáceres if he makes the squad, which are all players that were in that 2010 run and the 2011 Copa America win. So yeah, it's a bit sad for them, but a golden generation of Uruguay players is probably ending at this World Cup. But and the new generation is also coming with Valverde, Bentancur, Núñez. So it's gonna be very interesting to see.
Yeah. So yeah, man, it's gonna be interesting. So I think that's gonna be it for today. Like I said, guys, it was a good preview. We had a good fun discussing this Uruguay team, and let's see what they can do, man. Because like I said, man, I think Uruguay can definitely surprise people in the World Cup. Because like I said, man, they're very well organized. They have a very good, solid team. I don't think there's any significant weaknesses. I mean, what do you think is a weakness of this team, personally speaking? I don't really see any weaknesses.
No, I don't see any weaknesses. The only weakness I would see is if, like Godin or Jimenez get injured at some point. Maybe you don't have the same confidence in the center back position. But apart from like that, something terrible happening to them. I think the starting 11 is super solid everywhere, and they can do massive damage up front while being super safe on the back. So they are going to be a tough team to beat for every nation at the World Cup.
Yeah, man. So, like I said, man, thank you, Rank, for coming on here, giving your thoughts on this Uruguay team. And yeah, like I said, guys, it'll be interesting to see what happens. So make sure you guys comment down below your thoughts Is there any players that we didn't mention that's going to be playing? Because like I said, there's probably some players that we forgot to mention. That won't make the squad. So please let me know. Also, comment down below your expectations, and of course, like this video if you did enjoy. Subscribe if you're new. Comment down below your thoughts. Make sure you guys check out my playlist description below. My Twitter, Twitch, email, Discord, all that good stuff. And I'll see you guys later, guys. Peace out.